very fresh and a very wonderful morning. How are you all, my dear students? I hope you all are fit, fine, and healthy. We are back with English subject for class 8, and I hope that you are going to celebrate this new year by staying at home and keep washing your hands and sanitizing it continuously. So, today we are going to start with our new lesson, that is imagination. It's a poem written by George Bernard Shaw, and this is probably the last poem of your periodic test 3. So, today we are going to complete it and complete our syllabus for our periodic test 3. This is unit number 4, section number 3. So, in your examinations for periodic test 3, you will be having unit 3, all the 3 sections, and unit 4, all the 3 sections. Okay, this is a poem. Its name is Imagination. Right? Here we all know what is imagination, correct? In imagination, you can think anything. So, here in this lesson, a little boy, as young as you all, he imagines his life as a different, he is playing different uh, roles in his life. So here he expresses that he pretends and play various people. So here let us see what is his imagination, what he imagines and what he wants to become. So here we'll read the first stanza of the poem. It is on page number 111 of your course book. First is, I used to play at pirates and sailed the 7 seas. Then I was a cowboy. These simple things did me please. So here he says that I used to play at pirates. That means he play games pretending to be a pirate. Okay, that you can see in this picture. Here it is. Here he's playing the role of a pirate. Then I was a cowboy. These simple things did me please. So first he used to play by being a pirate. He play at a pirate, pretends to be a pirate, and then he plays to be a cowboy. He pretends that he is a cowboy. I had a vivid imagination. Vivid means various types of imagination. Adventure was always on my mind. So in his mind, whatever he thought, he pretended that he is playing a role of someone who is very adventurous. I discovered the joys of reading and escaped the daily grind. So here in this poem, in the second stanza, it is said that the poet had a various kind of imagination in his mind, and it was always regarding some adventurous thing. And he also loved reading. He find joy in reading and escape the daily grind. That means by reading different books, he used to escape himself from daily grudges, from daily problems, whatever disturbances and whatever problems you have in your day-to-day life. You can escape that from by reading good books. So here he discovered the joys of reading and escaped the daily grind. So here in this pandemic, we are living in such a time, such a bad time, in which we are not able to go out of our houses, and we have to stay confined at our home. We sometimes feel very low, very very dull. We often think that, okay, what is this corona all the time? We need to go out, step out of the house, breathe fresh air, meet different people, meet our schoolmates, friends, teachers, and live a life that we used to live, correct? But here he says that we can also overcome these problems, these drawbacks, by reading. The reading can give you, can help you to escape this daily grind, this whatever problems you are facing, whatever disturbances you are facing. You can avoid that by indulging yourself, by diverting your mind in reading good books. He says this here in the second stanza. Once I lived with the Eskimos in the land of ice and snow, went hunting and a fishing. My fantasy was all aglow. Aglow means at its best. So once he used to play as a pirate, then he became a cowboy and used to pretend and play. Then now he thinks, he imagines that he is living with the Eskimos in the land of ice and snow. Okay, now he's living with the Eskimos on a land where it is full of ice and snow. He used to hunt, he used to fish, do fishing there, and at that time his fantasies, his imagination was at its best. I read a book of Jules Verne and went off the moon. Now he is reading a book of Jules Verne and he went off to the moon. It was just to take a look, then it was time to return. Moving on to the next paragraph, next stanza of the poem. I spent time in the forests of Africa with Dr. Livingstone as my guide. Then off again to America with Huckleberry Finn I did hide. So here he says that first he pretended, he imagined that he is a pirate. Then he imagined that he is a cowboy. Then he says that I am very adventurous and I also love reading. Then he says that when he read a book of Jules Verne, he went off to the moon and there he just had a look and then it was time to return back to his own house. Then he imagined that he's spending time in the forest of Africa with Dr. Livingstone as his guide. Then he went off to the America with Huckleberry Finn. In my world of fantasy and imagination, I performed such wonderful deeds. A hero of all the nations, I was the one that did succeed. So here he says that in the world full of fantasies and imagination, he performed such wonderful deeds that he became most famous, he became the most successful person, as if he is the hero of the whole nation. He did such a wonderful deeds in his imagination, in his fantasy, that he is a hero, he's saving everyone, he's doing all the good stuff in the world, and he becomes successful that way, and he becomes the hero of the nation that way. He just imagines that. Then I grew up, my childish world at an end. I had become serious, it nearly drove me around the bend. I still do like the mysterious. This is the message I'm trying to send. So here he says that now when he grew up, his childish days, his childish world, his world of fantasies and his world of imagination, then he had to become very serious, and then he sometimes still do this kind of mysterious things. So this is what he's trying to say, that keep imagining, keep thinking, keep dreaming. Here we are having two hard words. Now today we'll discuss its exercise 2 along with this. But first I would request you to watch the video of this poem, then we'll discuss its question answers. So watch this 1.5 minute of video of this poem, understand it, it will give you a good animated stuff to understand this poem. After watching the full video, we will be discussing its question answers. So kindly write down the question answers in your notebook as we're having very short of time. So kindly do not wait for my PDF. Start writing from the video. I'll be sending you the PDFs as soon as possible.
Imagination by George Bernard Shaw. I used to play at pirates and sailed the seven seas. Then I was a cowboy. These simple things did me please. I had a vivid imagination. Adventure was always on my mind. I discovered the joys of reading and escaped the daily grind. Once I lived with the Eskimos in the land of ice and snow. Went hunting and a-fishing. My fantasy was all aglow. I read a book of Jules Verne and went off to the moon. It was just to take a look, then it was time to return. I spent time in the forests of Africa with Dr. Livingstone as my guide. Then off again to America. With Huckleberry Finn I did hide. In my world of fantasy and imagination, I performed such wonderful deeds. A hero of all the nations, I was the one that did succeed. Then I grew up, my childish world at an end. I had become very serious. It nearly drove me around the bend. I still do like the mysterious. This is the message I'm trying to send.
I hope you enjoyed the videos and understood what the poet, that is Bernard George Bernard Shaw, is trying to tell you in the poem Imagination. Now let us not waste much of our time and start with our um, poem appreciation, that is on your page number 112. All right, we are having three MCQs, so kindly tick the answers in your textbook only. Do not copy it in your notebook, and write down the question answers in your notebook with beautiful handwritings. So here, the question I'll read out for you. On screen you're having only the answers. On the basis of your understanding of the poem, complete the following statements with the most appropriate options. Question 1 is, the poet in this poem recalls his boyhood days with regret, with fearfulness, nostalgia, or contentment. So your answer is nostalgia. Option third is the correct answer. The poet in this poem, the imagination, recalls his boyhood days with nostalgia. Question 2 is, the simple things that pleased the poet were games, textbooks, computers, all of the above. So he simple things that pleased him was games. Option B is the correct answer. Games means pretending to be a pirate, pretending to be a cowboy, such like that games. Question C is, what helped the poet overcome the grind was the magical world of books, his travels to far off places, the time that he spent with his friends, the world that he anticipated visiting. Here the answer is, you're correct. The magical world of books helped him to overcome the grind he was living in. Question 2 is, I hope you can read it. It is readable. Alright. Question 2 is, what games did the poet play as a child? What impact did they have on him? The poet liked to play pirates and cowboys as a child. This enabled him to develop a vivid imagination. Right? Question 3 is, the poet's life is unlike the books he reads. Quote from the poem to validate this. He says that I discovered the joys of reading and escaped the daily grind. This proves that the poet's life is unlike the books he's read. His real life is very different from the life of the lifestyle he reads in his book. Question 4 is, what was the impact of science fiction on his life? The poet read the books of Jules Verne and went traveling to the moon. He takes a look around the moon through the pages of the science fiction book and comes back home when he is done reading. When he completes the reading, he is back to his home. So that is what helps him. That is what the impact of science fiction in his life. Question 5 is, allusion is a figure of speech in which an object or circumstance briefly and indirectly refers to another person, place, thing, or event. So, what does the allusion figure of speech mean? Only one figure of speech I'll make you understand in this poem. It is allusion. Allusion is a figure of speech in which an object or circumstance briefly and indirectly refers to another person. Okay, so when an object or circumstance is indirectly or very briefly is refers to another person, place, thing, or event, then it is called allusion. In the fifth stanza, the speaker alludes to two people. Dr. Livingstone was an explorer in Africa in the year 1850s. His knowledge of the Nile opened up routes for missionaries and freedom for slaves. What about Huckleberry? Huckleberry Finn is a fictional character created by Mark Twain. He is a mischievous boy who likes to explore the countryside and gets into trouble for doing so. So here we end up with the question number 5. Moving on to question number 6. What impact did growing up have on the poet? So, what impact that growing up had on the poet? That is, the poet's name is George Bernard Shaw. When the poet grew up, the fantasy world of heroes was lost to him. He thought that he's the hero of the nation when he was child. He imagined, he had a fascination, he had a fantasy world. But when he grew up, the fantasy world of heroes was lost to him. His childish world of games and imagination came to an end. Although he became very serious, a part of him never forgot the mysterious and the imaginary world of his younger days. So there is a part in his mind that makes him remind that when he was young, he used to think, he has to imagine in this way, and he cannot forget the mysterious and the imaginary world that he imagined when he was very young. So that is the impact that had on him while he grew up. So this was the answer number 6. So I hope you understood this poem. So kindly write down the MCQs in your textbook only, while the question answers in your notebook with the beautiful handwriting. I'll be sending you the PDF of this lesson as soon as possible, but do not rely on that. Start running as your exams are very near. So kindly do not waste much of your time. Your PDF of the Emperor's on Ice is already sent. Another section 2, that is from the journey to the center of the earth, that lessons PDF will be sent to you in your WhatsApp group. Still, if you have any doubt regarding any stuff, any question you have for your periodic test 3, you can personally call me or message me, or you can reach to me by any way. That's all.